Something is wrong with the universe. Not metaphorically, not philosophically, physically. The laws of reality are suspiciously perfect. If even one number were different, nothing would exist. So which is it? Is the universe designed, or did we just get impossibly lucky? Because when physicists look closely at reality, what they find is not randomness. They find precision, extreme precision, the kind that feels deliberate. The universe runs on a small set of numbers known as physical constants: the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, the speed of light, the expansion rate of space. These numbers are not predicted by theory, they are measured. And the unsettling part is this: if any one of them were changed by even a fraction of a percent, the universe would collapse. Gravity slightly stronger, the universe collapses into black holes before stars can form. Gravity slightly weaker, matter never clumps, no galaxies, no planets. Change the electromagnetic force just a little, atoms fall apart. Change the cosmological constant by 1 part in 10 to the power of 120. The universe either rips itself apart or collapses instantly. That number is so precise that physicists struggle to even describe it. And yet, it's exactly what we observe. This phenomenon is known as fine-tuning, and it is one of the biggest unsolved problems in physics. Because fine-tuning does not look like randomness. It looks like calibration. Imagine finding a safe with hundreds of dials. Each dial must be set to the exact right position, not approximately, exactly. And when you open the safe, inside is a universe. You would not assume that happened by accident. You would assume intention. And yet, many scientists are deeply uncomfortable with that implication. So, alternative explanations were proposed. One of them is the multiverse. The idea that there are countless universes, each with different physical constants, most of them lifeless, most of them chaotic, and we just happen to be in the one where the numbers worked out, not because it was designed, but because only universes like this can produce observers. This idea sounds convenient, but there is a problem. There is no experimental evidence for the multiverse, no observation, no measurement, no test. It exists purely to explain away fine-tuning, which raises an uncomfortable possibility. Have we replaced mystery with speculation? Because the multiverse is not simpler than design. It is infinitely more complex, an infinite number of invisible universes, just to avoid one uncomfortable conclusion. And even if the multiverse exists, it does not solve the deeper question. Why does the multiverse itself have laws? Why does it produce universes capable of life at all? Why does anything exist rather than nothing? The deeper physicists go, the more the universe begins to feel structured. At the smallest scale, reality is not solid. It is not continuous. It is pixelated. Space and time appear to come in discrete units, like frames in a video. There is a smallest possible length, a smallest possible time. Below that, the concept of space-time breaks down. This is not how reality was expected to behave. It behaves more like a computational grid, information-based, quantized. Even more strange, the universe appears to run on mathematical laws that exist independently of matter. Equations describe reality with uncanny accuracy, not approximations, exact solutions, as if the universe is not made of matter, but of mathematics. Physicist Eugene Wigner famously called this the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. Why should abstract symbols invented by human minds describe the universe so perfectly? unless mathematics is not invented, but discovered. And if mathematics is discovered, then it exists independently of us, which suggests that reality is not built from stuff, but from structure, from logic, from information. Modern physics increasingly describes the universe not as matter and energy, but as information. Black holes store information, entropy measures information, quantum states encode information. Reality behaves like a system processing data. And systems that process data are not random, they are designed. Even time behaves strangely. The fundamental laws of physics do not care about time. They work the same forwards and backwards. And yet, we experience time flowing in one direction, past to future, cause to effect. This arrow of time emerges from entropy, from probability, from statistical behavior, which means the flow of time is not fundamental, it is emergent, a byproduct. Time itself may not be real in the way we think it is. And if time is emergent, what is it emerging from? Some physicists suggest that time, space, and matter arise from a deeper layer of reality, a layer that does not look physical at all, a layer that looks informational or computational. In some theories, the universe is literally described as a quantum computation. Each interaction is a calculation, each particle a bit of information, each moment a processing step. If that is true, then the universe is not a thing, it is a process. And processes require rules. Rules imply constraints. Constraints imply structure. And structure implies intent. But intent does not necessarily mean a conscious designer in the traditional sense. It could mean something far stranger. Some researchers have proposed that the universe is self-organizing, that the laws of physics evolve to maximize complexity, that reality selects for stability, that universes capable of producing observers are statistically favored. But even this explanation hides a deeper problem. Selection requires a landscape, a space of possibilities, a meta-law governing which laws are allowed. And once again, we are pushed one level deeper. Why that landscape? Why those rules? Why anything at all? The question refuses to go away. The more we try to reduce reality to randomness, the more structure we find. Quantum mechanics, the most accurate theory ever developed, is deeply strange. Particles exist in superpositions. They are waves and particles. They do not have definite properties until measured. Observation plays a role, not metaphorically, literally. Until a measurement is made, physical properties are undefined. Reality exists as probability, potential, and when observed, it collapses into a definite state. This is not philosophical interpretation. This is experimentally verified. Which raises a disturbing question. What counts as an observation? Is it a measuring device, a detector, or consciousness itself? No one knows. But the fact that observation matters at all is deeply unsettling. It suggests that reality is not fully independent. It suggests that the universe is not complete without interaction, without awareness. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that the universe is fundamentally relational. Things do not exist on their own. They exist in relation to other things. Information exchanged between systems. No observer-independent reality, just interactions. And interactions require participants. Which brings us back to the central mystery. Why does the universe allow complexity? Why does it allow chemistry, biology, consciousness? Most possible universes would be sterile, simple, dead. Our universe is explosively complex. It builds stars from hydrogen, planets from dust, life from chemistry, minds from matter. This is not the most probable outcome. It is the most interesting one, and interest implies selection. At the extreme edge of physics, some scientists now openly ask whether the universe is tuned for observation, not just for life, but for knowing itself. A universe that can be observed, understood, reflected upon, a universe that produces beings capable of asking questions about its origin. That is not a trivial feature. That is extraordinary. If the universe were random, complexity would be rare, understanding would be accidental, meaning would be illusory. But instead, the universe seems to invite comprehension. It yields to reason. It reveals patterns. It rewards curiosity. And the deeper we look, the more coherent it becomes. This does not prove design, but it does challenge pure randomness. Because randomness does not produce layered elegance. Randomness does not produce laws that can be written in a single line. Randomness does not produce a universe that can simulate itself inside human minds. And here's where the question becomes unavoidable. If the universe were designed, what kind of design would it be? Not a static artifact, not a finished object, but dynamic system, one that evolves, experiments, explores possibilities. A universe capable of generating novelty, capable of surprise, capable of producing observers who question it. In that sense, design does not mean rigid control. It means framework, rules that allow freedom, constraints that enable creativity, just enough structure to allow emergence, just enough stability to allow complexity, and just enough uncertainty to allow choice. Whether the universe is designed or random may not be a binary question. It may be both, a system with underlying structure and open-ended outcomes, a universe that follows rules, but does not predetermine results, a universe that sets the stage and lets the play unfold. Perhaps the deepest mistake we make is assuming that meaning must be imposed from outside, but meaning can emerge, just as complexity emerges, just as life emerges, just as consciousness emerges. From simple rules iterated over time, if the universe is random, then we are a miracle of chance. If it is designed, then we are part of a larger intention. But in both cases, one fact remains. We exist in a universe that allows us to ask these questions. A universe that permits understanding. A universe that is strangely hospitable to minds. That alone is extraordinary. Whether designed or random, the universe is not indifferent. It is responsive, it evolves, it reveals, and the more closely we examine its deepest laws, the less they look accidental. The strange physics of our universe does not point cleanly to one answer. It points to a mystery, one that sits at the boundary between science and philosophy, between mathematics and meaning, between randomness and purpose. And perhaps that is exactly where it belongs. Because the universe may not be trying to give us answers. It may be inviting us to keep asking, and that in itself may be the most designed feature of all. But there is one more layer to this mystery, because even if the universe is structured, even if it is fine-tuned, even if its laws feel intentional, there is still something that refuses to fit neatly into physics, something that does not behave like matter, something that cannot be reduced to equations alone: conscious experience. Because no matter how precisely we describe the universe from the outside, there remains an inner dimension that science struggles to touch, The feeling of being here, the sensation of awareness, the fact that the universe is not just existing, it is being experienced. And this is where the question shifts. Not just how the universe works, but why it allows experience at all. Because a universe that supports observers is one thing, but a universe that gives rise to subjective experience, to meaning, curiosity, wonder, and fear, is something else entirely. Physics can describe motion, chemistry can describe reactions, biology can describe life, but none of them explain why any of it feels like anything, why there is something it is like to exist, why reality is not just a silent machine running in the dark. This gap between physical description and lived experience is one of the deepest unsolved problems in science. And some researchers now believe it is not a bug in our understanding, it is a clue. Because consciousness may not be something that emerges from the universe. It may be something the universe is structured to produce. Or even more unsettling, something the universe is structured around. Consider this. Every law of physics we know is indifferent. Gravity does not care what it pulls. Electromagnetism does not care what it binds. Quantum fields do not care what they fluctuate into. And yet, from these indifferent rules emerges a world filled with value. Pain matters, joy matters, loss matters, meaning matters. Not to the universe itself, but to those who experience it. Which raises a profound possibility. What if experience is not an accident? What if the universe is not optimized for matter, but for awareness? A universe optimized for awareness would not need to be perfect. It would need to be interesting. It would need contrast, uncertainty, limitation. Because without limitation, there is no story. Without uncertainty, there is no discovery. Without vulnerability, there is no meaning. This reframes the apparent harshness of reality, the fragility of life, the inevitability of loss, the presence of suffering, not as evidence of randomness, but as conditions for experience. A perfectly safe universe would be dull. A perfectly predictable universe would be empty of growth. A universe that never allowed failure would never allow insight. This does not make suffering good, but it suggests it may be functional, a side effect of a system that allows depth. And if that idea feels uncomfortable, it should, because it challenges the assumption that reality exists to protect us. It may exist to teach, or more precisely, to explore. If the universe were a static object, it would not need observers. But if it were a process, if it were something unfolding, then observers become essential. They are how the universe experiences its own unfolding, from the inside. This idea appears again and again across disciplines, in philosophy, in mysticism, in modern theoretical physics, different languages, same intuition, that the universe is not complete without awareness, that reality is not just a structure, but a relationship between what exists and what experiences it. And perhaps that is why the universe is comprehensible, why its laws can be written down, why its patterns repeat, why it yields to curiosity. Because a universe that can be understood by minds may be a universe that expects minds to arise, not as a coincidence, but as part of the process. And here is where the idea becomes personal, because you are not just a passive observer of this universe. You are an instance of it, a localized perspective, a way for reality to look back at itself through a nervous system, through perception, through thought. Your questions are not outside the universe. They are events within it. the universe questioning itself through you. And that makes curiosity more than a personality trait. It makes it a feature of reality, a drive built into the structure of existence. To explore, to understand, to reflect, which means that when you feel drawn to questions about meaning, origin, or purpose, you are not stepping outside science. You are participating in the deepest mystery it has yet to solve. The strange physics of our universe does not give us a final answer. It gives us a direction toward deeper structure, toward deeper questions, toward the boundary where explanation turns into understanding, where equations end and experience begins. And perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the universe is not meant to be solved like a puzzle, but engaged with like a conversation. One where each discovery opens another question, each answer reveals another layer, each understanding deepens the mystery instead of closing it. If the universe were purely random, this conversation would not exist. If it were completely designed, it might already be finished. But instead, we find ourselves in a universe balanced delicately between order and openness, between law and freedom, between structure and surprise. A universe that allows us to wonder whether it is designed or random, without giving us the satisfaction of certainty. And that ambiguity may not be a failure of knowledge, it may be an essential feature, because a universe that leaves room for interpretation leaves room for meaning, for choice, for responsibility, for curiosity. And perhaps that is why the most important questions do not have final answers. Not because we are incapable of finding them, but because answering them completely would end the experience. So instead, the universe gives us something better. It gives us mystery and invites us to participate, not as spectators, but as explorers, as questioners, as conscious beings inside a reality strange enough, precise enough, and open enough to wonder where it came from and what it is becoming through us.